And now I'm recording. If you are joining us from the recording, we're starting in Shavasana. Right. And so today's class, as I mentioned on the Facebook page, is Star Wars inspired because it was May the 4th on Tuesday. And as a Star Wars fan, it was a very exciting day. On my Instagram, I had the family took a cute little photo, Sean with his lightsaber and Aurora with her Chewbacca stuffy. Like she actually has like a chewy, ironically. And one of the reasons why I really love yoga is just the flow of it and the movement. And so when I was watching Star Wars over again, because I've been watching it over and over again for the past almost 10 years, I noticed that there was elements of yoga in it. And I remember finding this really great article about the similarities between yoga and Star Wars. And the main one that we're going to talk about today is the idea of the Force. So the Force, if you're not super familiar with Star Wars, the Force is this ever being force of energy. This energy field around you, it surrounds us, it makes everything, it is the being. And you can take it one way or another if you're more religious or not, but the way that we're going to take it today is that it's the breath. The force is the breath. It fuels us. We are one with our breath. The breath is with us. That is literally a paraphrase to I am one with the force is with me, is what they say kind of in episode 7 to 9. And I really love that idea because our breath is always with us. Our breath is always moving. It surrounds us. It allows us to do all of these amazing things uh, by being alive at its core, right? And so as we move through our practice today, try to keep that in mind of gratitude for the breath. It's something that is involuntary, so we don't think about it often. But when we get to these spaces of this mindful movement, we also think of mindful breath. And man, you at certain points, you can just feel so just deeply grateful for the fact that we have this breath that allows us to move our body, that allows us to feel calm and peaceful. And I'm sure that Jedis are also very grateful for their version, which is the Force. And so take a few more deep breaths. Maybe this is a part where you kind of think of one or two things of what you're grateful for. Or not, that's cool too. And whenever you're ready, we're going to wiggle the toes and wiggle the fingers. But we're not getting up just yet. We're going to do a few moves on our back before we come up. And so if you want to move your blanket, if you have something on top of you, this probably be a good idea to do it now. But if you want to leave it, that's totally fair. Whatever works for you. And so we're going to start with some supine twists. So we're going to let that right leg just be on the ground. And we're going to bring that left leg. So we're going to bend the knee and we're going to take our hand and grab the bent left knee and just hold it up to our body just a little bit. Make sure that the foot is nice and flexed. Maybe wiggle the toes too. Nice deep breath. We're going to inhale through the nose. And as we exhale through the mouth, we're going to bring the right hand onto that kneecap. Let the left arm go. We're going to bring that left knee over the right side. And so it should be coming off your mat and you should be in a nice little twist. And so for this yogi's choice of whatever you would like to do with your left hand, bring out to your side. And because it also depends on how well the mobility in your shoulder and arms are, right? So if you want, I like to put my hand past my head, and then we're going to look over our left shoulder. Check to see if you're holding any tension on your right side. Because we're transitioning, sometimes we clench, and just let it go. See if your left knee can relax as it's over your right side. Maybe close the eyes too, or maybe they've already been closed. Relax the muscles behind the eyes and the forehead. Notice how you feel on this side. Take one more deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And slowly, we're going to come back to flat on our back. Bring our hands down to our side, and we're going to extend that left leg out. Connect back with the breath. We're going to let that left leg hang down on the side, and we're going to lift that right leg. We're going to bend the knee, and we're going to grab with our hands. I like to intertwine my fingers as I pull my knee and leg closer to my body with the right foot flexed. And slowly and with intention, we're going to let that right arm come down to the ground. And we're going to have that left hand bring the right knee over the left side to a nice twist. And then from here, again, you can bring your right arm out, maybe down to your side, or my personal favorite is I like bringing it above my head. And then we look over to the right. Again, notice if you're clenching anything as we're in this twist. Maybe it's the left shoulder. Maybe it's the inner right thigh. And slowly, we're going to come back to our back and let that right leg come out and bring the right arm down to our side again. Back to Shavasana. Nice little twist. Then we're going to keep our hands down at our side for a little bit. as we slowly bring up the legs. We're going to try to see if we can have them as nice and straight as we can so that your body is kind of like a 90-degree angle. Check to see if your lower back is flush with the ground and that your core is starting to be a little bit engaged. If anything, this is always a nice pose if your feet aren't feeling super great or you just need better circulation, better blood flow. I find it particularly, it's nice in summer to do legs up on the wall because I think the heat expands my feet a little bit. So it's kind of nice up there. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to bring our arms out, or bring our arms straight up. We're going to have our palms facing our feet, kind of like we're almost like a zombie walking. And we're going to do a little bit of a dead bug practice here to start warming up the core. So what we're going to do is we're going to let that left arm come down and we're going to bring that right leg down, but don't let it touch the ground. We're going to let it hover and come up, bring back up. And then we'll switch, bring the right hand down, left foot down, let it hover and come back up. Now let's see if we can connect it with the breath. So inhale, left hand, right foot down. Exhale up. Inhale, left leg, right arm. Exhale up. One more time each way. Left hand, right leg. And up. Right hand, left leg. And back up. Whew. Nice. We're going to bend the knees closer to our chest, and we're going to take our hands and grab the outer edges of our feet and come into a happy baby. And take a moment here to relax, connect back with the breath. Again, you can imagine as you inhale, feeling the expansion of the chest, and as you exhale, see if you can bring your knees a little bit closer down to the ground. See if you maybe let go of the shoulders from the ears. And let yourself be here. As Master Yoda says, do or do not, there is no try. So we shall do today and every day. Take one more nice deep breath in and out. All right, we're going to let go of the feet and we're going to bring the soles of our feet to the ground. Actually, while we're here, let's do some bridge pose. So we're going to make sure that our feet are nice on the ground, our knees are nice and bent, hands to the side, or as we come back up, or we come up from lifting our hips, we can bring our hands inward if you'd like. We're going to take a nice deep breath in. And as we breathe out, we're going to push the hips up. Come to bridge. Chest to chin, chin to sky. As I mentioned, you can bring your hands together and intertwined as we're in bridge. And lower your hips down. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down. One more time, inhale up. And exhale down. Wonderful. So from here, we're going to extend the legs out. And you can kind of put your hands to the side and just come on up. And so your legs are nice out in front of you and you're sitting up. Wiggle the toes. Or you can even bring the blanket on your legs. Excuse me. Wiggle the toes, wiggle, wiggle. I always like this part because my toes like just reach the bottom of the thingy. All right, so we're just gonna be here for a few moments. We're gonna bring our hands to the side here, and we're gonna feel as though we're pushing down. We're gonna push down, but we're gonna feel as though we're almost lifting ourselves up. We're gonna make sure our shoulders are rolled nice and back and down. And see if in this pose you can activate your core while you're here. Not to get really nerdy, but I'm about to. It's kind of like when Luke is trying to pull the TIE fighter out of the lake in Dagobah, where it's like shaking, where your core is engaged and you're just so focused. And then we let the TIE fighter go because he can't do it just yet. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that left foot. We're going to bring it into the inner right thigh. Adjust the sit bones as needed. We're going to bring the arms all the way up as we inhale. And exhale, we're going to bend over that right leg and let the hands fall where they may. And as a reminder, you can do two different things. Either you can just hang out here, but making sure that your back is as straight as it can. Or if you want to practice bringing your head to your knee, you can bring your knee up a little bit, nice bend. And then I like to practice. So it's like, okay, my head can hit this part of the knee. Let's see if I bring it a little bit lower. Can I still do it? Yeah. And then get to a point where you can do it, and it kind of is uncomfortable, but not to the point where you're straining yourself. Or maybe that's just, it's just not a part of your practice today. Wherever you are, just make sure that the shoulders are nice and dropped. Maybe even tuck your chin to your chest for an extra stretch in the neck. Take one more nice deep breath in. And slowly we rise up. And then we'll switch. We'll bring that left leg out. And bring the right inner foot, or bring the right foot into the inner left thigh. You shake it out. And bring your hands all the way up to the sky. And bend over here to your left leg. And again, we can practice here. Or maybe, no, even like you can't do that. Just honor where you're at. And it's also fun to do these left and right comparisons because we can kind of check out and see how our bodies are, as they are beautifully intricate. Take one more nice deep breath in. And as we exhale, we'll come back up. And what you're gonna do is we're actually gonna kind of come up a little bit and you're gonna meet me in a kneeling position. And what we're gonna do, here, I'm gonna just turn this for a little bit. Today we're gonna practice having our toes tucked in. So when you're getting to your kneel, just check to see how your toes are doing. For me, for example, my pinky toe likes to hang out, but in a perfect world, all of my toes would be down. And just check to see how your toes are. I almost like to place mine. And get yourself set up. Make sure all the piggies are in a row. And whenever you're ready, just come on up. And we'll just be in a kneel. This is one of those poses that I dislike as a student, so I always feel like I need to teach it. As you can see, if it starts to be painful, because it's definitely a bit of a stretch, I like to just put my hands down and kind of let my knees lift up a bit, so I get a little bit of less pressure. And I always wondered why I learned this position, why I put myself through such agony. But it's all about activating the feet, because it's like it's pada bandha, so like coming to the foot. And this idea of root to rise, where without that solid foundation, without the activation in the feet and the foot and the toes, I mean, from there you can stack it and build a really solid practice. But it starts in the feet. We're here for 3, 2, 1. All right, untuck those toes. We can come back to maybe a kneel if it feels good. And just take a few seconds here to kind of maybe roll the shoulders, bring your head to the side, fix your hair, whatever works for you. All right. And so from here, we're gonna keep our hands on our thighs. And actually, instead of going to cat-cow, we're gonna do the spinal inflection kneeling today. Thought that'd be fun. So in this case, we're kind of rolling the shoulders inward and back. And see if you can connect it with the breath as you do it. And one more. And back to that neutral. Wonderful job. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up from those knees, or we're gonna come up from the butt to our knees. We're gonna bring that right foot in front. And we're just gonna stay on our knees. And if you're having issues with your knees today, feel free to grab a blanket or a pillow or a towel to kind of pad and support the knees. Or actually what you can even do is even bend your yoga mat a little bit. So you roll it up to give yourself some extra support. You can keep the toes, you can keep your left foot tucked or left toes tucked or not, up to you. I like to tuck them. And so then just make sure that you feel nice and square between your knee and your foot. Then we're gonna slowly come up in our kneel. We're gonna let that right hand down, bring the left arm all the way up. And we're gonna inhale and even bend a little bit back. And as we exhale, bring that left elbow over the right knee. We're gonna bring the hands together in prayer. And look over our right shoulder. Check to see how your form is. And see how much you can twist. Don't push yourself. Check it out. Okay. And come back to center. We're gonna bring that right knee back to meet with the left, and we'll switch over the other side. Bring your left foot out. Again, you can tuck your toe, you can tuck your right toes or not, up to you. Whenever you feel stable, you can come right on up. Keep that left arm down, right arm all the way up. Inhale in, exhale, let's do a little bit of a bend in the spine. And inhale, bring that right elbow over. Bring your hands together in prayer and look over your left shoulder. Check your form. How's your knee doing? And we'll come back to center. And so what we're going to do is we're actually going to shuffle that knee back. And then we're going to rise. We're going to lift that right knee up, and we're going to bring our foot into 45-degree angle. We're eventually going to come into warrior one. So feel prep. Get ready to prep for that. And whenever you're ready, we're going to rise up and bring our hands up. Nice transition, everyone. Great. Inhale in. Maybe do a little bit of a bend and a little bit of bend in the spine. And exhale. We're going to twist our torso to the right side. So we're going to come into warrior two. Palms facing the ground. Right arm back, left arm in front. Making sure we're dropping those shoulders. Making sure our left knee isn't bending in. We're going to take that right hand, we're going to let it slide down our leg as we bring that left hand all the way up. And then we're going to almost like cartwheel, so that we're going to bring our right arm either onto our knee, or we're going to bring it all the way down to the ground and bring our right arm up. And then we're going to go back and forth a few times, connecting with the breath. So inhale up, right hand down, left arm up. And exhale, left arm either on the left thigh or down on the ground. Come on up. Great, inhale, right arm down, left hand up. Exhale, bring the hand down. Feel free to go through this one more time. And then we're going to meet again in warrior two. Wonderful. We're going to turn the torso to the front of our mat and bring our hands all the way up, making sure to keep a bend in that knee, and we're driving the back of that right foot to the ground. And using the power of our legs, we're going to transition the weight from the back of the mat to the front as we come into standing. And so whoosh, bring it together. You can either bring your feet together or stand apart. And our hands are nice up in the air. And then we'll do a standing forward fold. And just let your head hang. If you want to keep your hands on the ground, that's great, or your thighs, wherever you're at. You can clasp the elbows. You can even, if you're feeling a deeper shoulder stretch, you can bring your hands behind your back, intertwine, and see how far you can bring that to the ground. Wherever you're at, connect back down with the ground and connect back with the breath. Take one more deep breath in here. And using the momentum of the exhale and the rooting of the feet, as we exhale, we're gonna come up to standing. Maybe roll the shoulders, bring the neck side to side, shimmy it out, fix the clothing, whatever you gotta do. Maybe drink some water if you need. And then whenever you're ready, we're gonna ground that right foot. We're gonna step the left foot back. We're gonna do the warrior 1 and 2 on the other side. Can't leave out the other side. And so take a second to kind of check your form. How is your knee? Knees should be parallel with your heel, making sure that that right back foot is nice and secure. And whenever you're ready, we're going to bring our arms up. And check to see if your torso is right to the front. Inhale, do a little bit of a back spot or back bend. And exhale, we're going to turn our body over, turn our torso over to the left. Check the knee, is it bending in or out? Your right hand should be in front, left hand back. Drop the shoulders, bring the shoulder blades in together, and smile. We're going to do the same thing like we did on the other side. We're going to bring that left hand, slide it down the left leg, and bring our right arm up. And exhale, either bring the right forearm to the knee or bring your right hand down to the ground with left arm up. Inhale, come on up, left hand down, right arm up. Exhale, forearm to knee on ground. Yeah. Let's do this a few more times, connected to our breath. And whenever you're ready, come meet back at warrior 2. And as we inhale, we're going to turn the torso back to the front of our mat and come back to warrior 1. Check to see how that front knee is bent. Drop the shoulders. And again, using the momentum like the other leg, we're going to push our left leg off and come back to standing. Bring your hands down to your side. Either bring your feet zipped up together, or shoulder length, or shoulder width apart. And just close the eyes and just take some nice breaths. As the opposite of Emperor Palpatine would say, yes, let the good flow through you. Right. So from here, we're going to ground our feet nice. We're going to come into tree pose. So let's start with grounding that left foot. And then with the right foot, we can either do one of many things. Either we can keep our toes on the ground and kind of point the toes in. You can kind of bring the feet to the lower half of the knee or lower half of the leg. Or if you'd like, you can grab it, your foot, and kind of have a nice push and pull. And come to a pose. I always found this one really interesting because the key with keeping your foot placed is that push and pull, right? The right leg is pushing into the left. The left is also pushing into the right. Have a nice equilibrium. But just know that it's okay wherever you're at today. Like normally I can do this, but my leggings are really slippery. So, but sometimes I'm even a little bit more wobbly here. I think that's one thing that's really important to remember is just because we were really, really good, you know, the other day or 2 weeks ago, and maybe we're not as great today, doesn't mean that we're not good overall. It is not yoga is never a linear path. And so from here, we can either keep our hands down, or we can bring our hands to prayer. Or if we want, we can bring our hands all the way up. And just make sure you're not clenching in the face or in the feet. Also important thing to note is to never put the foot directly on the knee so that you're not hurting your knee. Wherever you're at, you can bring your hands down to your side and slowly and with control, bring that right foot down. Shake out the feet, shake out the leg. Shake out hands. All right, we're gonna ground that right foot. And again, we're gonna build up our tree pose. Either we're here or our toes are on the ground. Our feet are on the lower half of the leg, or we can bring it to the upper half. Wherever you are, honor that. And if it helps for stability, I believe it's called a drusha, like a center point to focus on. So see what's in front of you and focus on a spot to help balance. One thing I always thought was really interesting about the Star Wars franchise, and I guess focusing more on the prequels of Episode 1 to 3, is that idea of good versus bad. It's always a thing that goes all throughout Star Wars, right? We've got the First Order and the Resistance. We've got the Rebels and Darth Vader, right? We always have those good and bad. And what I really like in the prequels is that idea that the Jedis are very much, they're trying to figure out how to defeat, I'm losing my thoughts here, but like just defeating the Sith, right? They're trying to defeat the bad guys, and they're doing it through means that aren't necessarily true to them. And it comes to a point where Yoda basically is like, or I forget who it is, but someone is like good and bad are, oh, I think it is Emperor Palpatine, is like good and bad can be more similar than you think. It's only in the good that it's like a virtuous path, that you do things by the best means. It's doing what you think is best in ways that aren't cutting corners, that isn't hurting anyone. Because once you start to kind of cut corners, you start hurting people, you start manipulating people, then how good is that good side? And I think we're seeing that a lot in our dialogue of, you know, well, I'm right. Well, no, I'm right. Well, you're wrong. And I always like that idea that it's a subjective thing because everybody thinks they're right, really. If you look hard enough, you can find that confirmation bias. But all we can do is, as long as, you know, as you try not to hurt other people, all you can do is your best. There's no real answer. It's just something to contemplate and think about. Wherever you're at, we can kind of come back down. And I'll come down from my soapbox, no problem. I'm going to shake out those knees. We're going to do one more standing, and then we'll come back down. Figure we'll do some eagle arms. So we're going to do, so I'll stand back just to show it off. So what we're going to do is we're going to bring that right elbow over the left to start. We're going to intertwine those hands, see if the hands can come together. And with a nice grounded foot, we're going to lift up the elbows, drop the shoulders so you get that extra nice stretch. And just breathe. Maybe close the eyes if it feels right. One more nice deep breath in. And as we exhale, we'll release the hands. Maybe give yourself a nice stretch in the shoulders with the shoulder blades coming on in. Head side to side. Now we're going to bring the other way. So we're going to bring the right elbow underneath, wrap the hands together, and then nice grounded feet. We're going to lift up those elbows, drop the shoulders, and just breathe. Take one more nice deep breath in. And as we exhale, let go of the hands. Maybe do a few more shoulder rolls. All right. So we're going to bring our feet as wide as our mat. And we're going to have maybe a little bit of an angle. And then ground the feet and slowly with control, we're going to see how well we can come into a bit of a yogi squat. And it's okay if your heels come up. See how we can do without them coming up. And even if that means that you're up here, just honor where you're at. A resistance band also really helps with this as well. Making sure your back is as nice and straight as it can be. We're going to be here for 3, 2, 1. And come on to the butt. Oh. And our feet are nice and separated, which is nice. We're going to bring the feet together and come into cobblers. Oh. My favorite, which is a Yoga with Adriene classic, thus the Find What Feels Good shirt today, is massaging the soles of your feet. It's just so nice to kind of give yourself a little bit of love. Because when you think about it, like, do you ever massage your own feet? I really only do it when I'm in this pose. It just feels so good. I like bringing the little bit of the joint in the thumb and kind of rubbing that on the ridges of my feet. And whenever you feel like your feet are nicely massaged, I like to just hold my ankles straight in the back. See how close we can bring the feet. Drop the shoulders, look forward, and just breathe. Ooh. And also, don't worry if you're like me who's randomly having a cramping foot. It doesn't have to necessarily be together. The key is to give yourself a nice stretch in the hips. With every exhale, let's see if we can maybe bring the knees closer down to the mat. So we're going to come to the final pose, which we're going to do a little seated meditation to close it out. If you want to stay in cobblers, if you feel like you need some extra stretch in your hips, stay here. But if you'd like, you can come into cross leg. Love it. Love the blankets. Yes. Man, one day my dream is to have y'all at a studio, and I can for the final pose, like just put a bunch of sandbags on you. Oh, seriously, my favorite thing. I will never shut up about that. And so wherever you are, or you can even go into Shavasana if you want. I just figured we were there before and we can find peace in a seated position too. So take a second and just notice how you feel. How did the class go for you? Do you feel any different than you did before you got on the mat? Did you learn something new about your body? Did you learn something new from my little soapbox about good and bad? And before you start thinking about all the things you have to do later on tonight, and just fight to be here for a little while longer. Just fight to be in the present moment. Because the present moment is all that we have. It was my band teacher that always taught me that peace is in the present moment. Because sometimes you get anxious or sad thinking about the past, or anxious or nervous thinking about the future. But oftentimes in the present, nothing bad happening. You're just here. Allow your breath to let your shoulders drop. Let your legs slowly come to the ground. Your face relax. We're going to bring the hands together in prayer. And take a moment to think about our family and friends. May they feel joy and happiness and prosperity and health through this season. Made me think about the world, and hopefully there'll be peace and there'll be joy. And take a moment to think about yourself. Take a second to think about what you're grateful for and what you need in this season. Maybe you're having a hard season and you just are fighting through and you're hoping for peace. Maybe you're in that peaceful place and you hope that it will fuel you to bring change and hope to others. Just take a moment. I'll bring the thumbs up to the third eye. And from me to you, we'll kneel, bend to each other to say thank you.